Some people never begin because they never stop. I think this morning of three beings who begin, or began. The first is actual, the creation of the archangel Uriel. The second is a fabricated being called Ego, that is the Marvel comic story of Ego, the living planet, and the third is me, how I begin again. As to the first, God showed Micah Turnbow the creation of the angel Uriel, which I will not repeat here, but which I had read with interest, from the point of view of the mind of a being who suddenly finds himself, or itself, as existing, perhaps knowing some things instinctively, by some internal structure, and yet knowing nothing at all. Uriel, at some starting point, is given, and knows his own name. His first question is to God, "What is your name?" His second question is more or less, as I recall, "Am I alone?" What marvelous and delightful innocence. The second being is taken from Marvel Comics, and even though I don't recall his entire narrative, I will use my assumption for my point. Here this being, a celestial of sorts, finds himself in existence, knowing nothing, a blank slate of the mind. He does not know his name. He has no relatedness to another. He has no form. Inquiry bestows his purpose, but namelessness deletes his dream, and as he reaches out towards an otherness, or relatedness, he sees only planets in the universe, and takes the shape of the nearby thing, becoming Ego, the nameless self, the living planet. The third being is me, or I. I am mentioning the above examples because there is something useful in a mind that begins with nothingness, a sort of blank slate beholding newness. It is an interface. Now this process is a meditation technique, if you would. We calm our thoughts. We behold the light of God, by faith. We discard all thoughts, all paradigms, to a point. We need to do this so that we don't walk our whole life as a neurological Christian. By the unusual terminology, a neurological Christian, I mean, or impose, the idea of light inside us, and our own thoughts of the light, which is trapped by the organicity of the brain. Here the organic entity, the body of the Christian, walks the Christian's life, and the person is not aware of it. The soul of the neurological Christian is never found or expressed. Now the brain is important, and should be approached with great affinity, and I want to help my brain to help me, because even the brain can see into the spirit. But the way to overcome the trapped organicity is in the way of physical practice, because we are dealing with the mechanics of the brain, the way it likes to think. And here we practice thinking newness, beholding all as though we stand in a place of forgetting everything. It is not a true forgetting of everything, but touching the interface of thinking everything new. And in the meantime we should not be too hard on ourselves, remembering that God is ever near. And yesterday morning, as I was intending to do something wrong, I saw in my inner mind the Lord Jesus. But for a moment I wasn't sure who it was, because his frame was cloaked in shadow as he was standing some distance from me. And he said, "I will be here when you are done." Oh my! So, at any event, he always forgives, is always near.